Our weed of the week is one of the toughest ones you can face on your farm. It's Marestail.
All right, here's the challenge with Marestail. When we think about it, a lot of times, I know I do anyway, I think of Marestail as a winter annual weed. We're also starting to see some summer annual variants of it. So Marestail is actually popping up in the spring and early summer. And it's like, wow, when am I ever gonna have a break from this weed?
Let's solve this problem once and for all. And unfortunately, we're talking about this in the middle of the winter and you already missed your best time to spray. I will tell you, we made mistakes for many years trying to control Marestail on our own farm, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And finally, we'd had enough. And so I said, that's it. We're just gonna stop the combines for a day and we are gonna roll with a couple sprayers and we're gonna hit this thing hard in the fall. Here's what you gotta have. Two things. Number one, great weather. You need 70 degrees plus, preferably the day before and the day after spraying, but especially on the day of spraying. We've got to have a nice warm day where the Marestail is still actively growing. And number two, we want a massive rate of dicamba, 1 quart per acre. And I know it costs a little bit of money, okay? It's gonna probably cost you 15 bucks an acre. What we found is, hey, when we hit it that hard in the fall, we literally wipe it out. We've taken Marestail from a major problem to almost non-existent in a year. It absolutely can be done. Now, if you're rotating to soybeans instead of corn, rather than dicamba, I would probably go with LV6. Use some 2,4-D instead, probably at a couple quarts if it's labeled in your area. A nice strong rate of 2,4-D will do it. I like 2,4-D in front of soybeans instead of the dicamba because the 2,4-D doesn't last as long in the soil. I just worry that, hey, if you spray it right before freeze up and then you go plant your beans right after the frost is coming out, then you may have an issue there. If it's dicamba, I'd rather see you do 2,4-D in that case.
Now you certainly could use tillage in many cases and do a pretty nice job on Marestail. But if you need herbicide options, yeah, it starts with your pre-emerge program. Let's talk about soybeans where we really have the most problem with Marestail issues.
All right, best thing you can do is gramoxone. Because this is a winter annual, you want great burn down immediately.
Well, I also like metribuzin. Metribuzin has some residual. Say if I throw a little bit of metribuzin in, it really helps.
It helps. I'm just saying it's not nearly as good as the gramoxone. And then post-emerge, if you have Marestail left, you know, you can try a first-rate FlexStar combination or a FlexStar Classic combination. It's just not very good. You've got to get it in the burn down.
All right, how about in corn? Is Sharpen effective? That tends to be
you can use a
product.
higher rate of Sharpen. A lot of people talk about Sharpen on Marestail. It's fine if you can use 2 or 3 ounces, but you can't use that much in front of soybeans.
That's why it's failed in soybeans. And yes, it's good for a number of weeds, but not with Marestail.
Yeah, and keep in mind with soybeans, you can't use 2 PPOs. You can't put Valor or Authority together with Sharpen. I know it would burn the weed down better, but you'll end up hurting your soybeans. Okay, in wheat, we generally don't have much problem with Marestail, but if you do, start with a good Sharpen burn down, 2 ounces or more, and then follow post-emerge with Husky.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's weed, but Iron Talk is coming up next.